Hello, everyone. Good morning to you all. My name is Ikia Safu. Yes, it's been a while on the Pick Parents Academy page since we shared, since we came live. It's actually been a while. We are at the back, putting some one or two things together. And yes, so today is International Day of the Child. Okay, today is actually Children's Day, and yes, as a parent coach, and we in the parenting, business, we decided to come out and actually talk about something that is very, very important. And we actually scheduled for 12 o'clock, but I have been called, for to come for an emergency meeting, so I just needed to have this class now so that at 12 I can leave and do what I have to do. So that is why we had to change the time. So I welcome all of you here and I hope we are ready. If you are catching replay, I welcome you here. You can leave your comments after watching in the comment section. That thing that you learned, okay? Leave it in the comment section and then let's go on. So today we are going to talk about independence blueprint. How you can raise your kids, okay? How you can raise kids who take responsibility and thrive on their own. In this generation today, it's actually important that we raise our children to become independent. It's very important because in this era, so many children can't think for themselves. So many children can't do things all by themselves. So many children are, how should I even put it? We are training or we are raising our children to more like to depend too much on us. And if we do this thing, if we continue to do this, it's actually going to cost us a lot at the end of the day. And that is why we have taken it upon ourselves to actually come and talk about this. How can we raise our children to become independent? Most of us, okay, want to raise our children to become independent, to be able to do things for themselves, but we don't know how to do that. So we are here, and that is what we are going to talk about it. So today, I want you to actually tell me if you could raise your child, okay? If you knew what you want to do to actually raise an independent child, let me know what one thing will you do or will you teach your child so that when they grow, they can become independent? Leave it in the comment section. If you are catching replay, leave it in the comment section because I really want to know what one thing, one skill, or one thing will you teach your child so that they can become independent? Or let me put it in another way. If you are to die, okay, if for instance, there's been an issue where I'm not afraid to talk about death. I know so many people are afraid. If you only become afraid because you haven't done what you have to do in parenting, okay, you haven't equipped your children enough to be able to for them to actually do things for themselves, so you are afraid. So if let's say you fall sick right now, you go to the hospital and the doctor tells you you have only 1 year to live, tell me what one skill will you let your child master? What one skill will you teach your child, will you let them master before you pass on or before you die? What are you going to do? Tell me just that one skill that you are going to teach your child. I would really, really love to come back to this and read the comment sessions, your comments. I would really, really, really be glad to do that. Okay, so we are overprotecting our children. Most parents are overprotecting their children. And if you do that, you don't help the child to actually be able to navigate the world. There are so many things that goes on around the world. Like your child will lose their self-esteem, they will have anxiety. They are actually going to find it difficult to find their way, throughout this world. People don't really care about you, like so many things goes on that if we don't equip our children, at the end of the day they are going to be helpless. And I believe we don't want to raise children who will grow and not know what to do, who will go and be waiting for other people to rather tell them what to do. So if you are here, come and join me and let's continue with this session. So why is it important to actually raise children who are independent? or what will an independent child have over other children who are not independent? So, the first place, independence actually helps promote confidence, because confidence comes from competence. Yes, confidence comes from competence. If your child is able to do things for themselves, they won't, every child who knows how to do something actually is confident. Okay, the moment you can actually accomplish something, it's, you have this kind of independence, this feeling of confidence. You have that feeling. So if your child, even if your let's say your 2-year old or your 3-year old is able to put on their own underwear without you having to come in too much, you see, they feel proud, they feel confident, they feel, yeah, I can do this thing. So independence actually promotes confidence. That is the first thing. And what else does independence do? It also helps the child become more self-reliant. Yes, it allows your child to be able to, control things by themselves. They don't have to depend on someone to be able to do something for themselves. So immediately for my 4-year-old, I when I'm bathing her, we finish bathing. Sometimes she tells me she'll do it herself, and I allow her do what she has to do without coming in too much. I leave her. I teach her how to do it, and I guide her through it. When we come to her room, she does everything. Like she will apply pomade, she will wear her underwears, she will, put on her dress. And I'll say, yes, that's good. Like it helps them rely on themselves. They wouldn't have to by all means wait for mommy or daddy before they can do what they have to do. A child, you don't have to do for a child what a child has to do for themselves. And it's the same way God will not do for a man what a man has to do or what a man can do for himself. So these are some of the things we can do. Independence promotes self-reliance. Okay. It's also independence actually it helps the child, be able to develop skills, important skills. Being independent, raising your child to become independent, help them have some important life skills, like they are they are disciplined, they have, they are able to control themselves, they are able to help themselves, they are able to plan, they are able to make decisions. Decision making, it's very, very important. It allows them to solve problems. Yes, problem solving is so, 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 so important. We need more children who will grow to be able to solve the problems we have here in Africa. And it's because of how we were raised. Okay, someone told me some other time that they said that the more problems you have, problems are opportunities. So why is it that we have many problems in Africa and we can't solve these problems? It should be, an opportunity for us. But why is it that we are still where we are, and some are even more people are even suffering? And I said, yes, it's because of how we were raised. We weren't raised to, think more. We weren't raised to solve more problems. It was all about passing your exams, going to school, passing your exams. And when you fail, you are beaten for failing, you are beaten for making mistakes. So instead of that, seeing the failures and the mistakes as an opportunity to actually, solve problems, is an opportunity for the child to sit back, look at the problem again, look at that thing, that failure, that mistake again, and put things, in the right place. We beat them, expecting them to always, become perfect. And that is why we are raising children who can't think. That is how our parents, most of us, were raised that way. And that is the same thing we are passing on to the next generation. And if we don't really stand up to do things appropriately, if we don't stand up to put things in order, things are going to be like a mess in some years to come. So we need to stand, whatever it takes. See, stop telling yourself that you don't have time to raise your child. Stop telling yourself that you are looking for money. I know parents who didn't do what they had to do. All they said was they had to work, 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 and their focus was on the working that they were doing. So they paid no attention in the home, and it caused them a lot. It cost them a lot. So I always say that look at your season, where you are per time, and then let it help you take some decisions. Don't compare your journey to someone whose children are older. There are certain things, if you have a child, if you have a toddler, if you have a baby, there are certain things you should really not do. So we need to be very careful. Like, it's so urgent. We need to raise our children in a way that they will grow to become independent of themselves. Some people think that raising your child to become independent means that you are ignoring the child. No. If your child becomes independent, if we are asking you, or if we are teaching about letting your child become independent, it doesn't mean we are asking people to ignore their children. No, that is not what it means. It actually means that we are there, okay? As parents, we are there to guide the children. And so, guiding them, there are certain things that are age appropriate for them to be able to do on their own. At every point in time, in every stage in their lives, we need to let them do certain things. There are certain skills they can do at every point in time. And that is when, if we are allowing them to do these things, they will grow and we wouldn't have to fight with them for something simple that they have to do. Most of the times, children go, we fight with them. You have to do this, you have to do that. They will also say they will not do it. It's because when they were young, we didn't let them do those skills. We didn't let them practice those things that they were supposed to do. So growing up, it's difficult for them to do it because it's something new. Like, it's something that they weren't brought up with. At the time the windows of opportunity opened for that skill to be built, it wasn't built. So it becomes difficult for the child. And if you are not patient, if you are not someone who is willing to do the work, it becomes a battle between you and the child. So we need to actually take this parenting very, very, very seriously. Very, very, very seriously. It is not a joke. I always say that parenting, if you are thinking that parenting is, I can give birth and do whatever thing I like, then you don't, you are telling yourself that you don't qualify to be a mother or a father. That is what you are telling yourself. But it's not a time. I always say that there are principles, okay? Everything that works, it works with principles. And parenting is the same thing. If someone wants to become a lawyer or a doctor, what do? They go to school, they complete, all of those stages. And it's the same as parenting, but unfortunately, to become a parent, anyone at all, when they get to a stage that they have to marry and give birth, we just do it. There is nothing like we prepare someone for marriage, we prepare someone for, parenting. There is nothing like that. And that is one thing that we are actually going to push for some time to come. It will get to a time. It will get to a time before anyone gives birth, they have to go through a certain, process to learn some one or two things before they become. It makes raising a child so easier. You are able to understand, at every stage, at every point in time, what I have to do. You understand the seasons of life. And if we know these things, it becomes easier for us. So many people feel overwhelmed because truly, truly, they don't know what to do. It's real. Like, I've had a number of calls from parents who are overwhelmed. They don't really know what to do. It's not like they know and they don't want to do it. They don't know. And they feel some people even, have the regret of giving birth. Some have them. So we need to actually know all of these things and then begin to set up, okay? Set up and do the needful. What we have to do, we have to learn. You have to grow. The moment you become a parent, you have to grow so that you can give better to your child. So if you want to raise an independent child, what are some of the things you have to do? What are some of the things you have to do? First of all, you need to allow your children to, make age appropriate choices. Age appropriate choices. Most parents always, all the time, are deciding what their children to wear, how their children should do things. Everything we want to decide for the kids. No, if you do that, you are not helping the child build independence. So, for instance, as young, your toddler, okay, you can let your toddler choose their own attire, choose their own, wears. You can allow them. So, what you have to do, or what you can do, is that you can select maybe 3 or 4 different attires, and then you let them choose one. When you do that, you are encouraging, you are encouraging choices. They are able to make their own decisions. That is what you are encouraging at the end of the day. So that is what we have to do, irrespective of the age of your child. There are age appropriate, choices that we can give to them so that they will be able to build it one step at a time. We don't have to do everything for our children. Let them eat, let them feed themselves. Of course, when they are feeding themselves, they can, mess things up. They can do all of that. But it's okay. They learn through the mess. That is how children learn, through their mess, through, all of that. So parenting is actually in the mess. If, for instance, you are teaching your children how to prepare food in the kitchen, you are teaching them how to prepare food, they will mess up. Don't expect perfection, because you will be disappointed. You'll be disappointed. So put it at the back of your mind that, yes, in raising my children, they will make mistakes, they will mess up, they will do things, in the way that I dislike, and it's fine. I will teach them through that process. I will allow them to mess up, and I will teach them. Okay, and I will teach them. So this is one thing that we have to do. If you want to raise an independent child, what you have to do is that you have to learn to be able to give them choices so that they'll be able to choose. They'll be able to choose. Start when they are very young. 2 years old, there are certain things you can allow them to do all by themselves. All by themselves. And another thing you can do is that you need to also teach them responsibility. Teach responsibility and assign chores to them. When your child pours water on the floor, don't clean it for them. It is their responsibility, and don't beat them. See, you are not going to beat your children. If you want them to learn something, you don't teach a child something by beating them. No, you don't build skills in a child by beating them. You teach them, and then you guide them with patience. That is what you have to do. So please, when you want, if you want to raise your child to become an independent child, then give them responsibilities. When they do things, let them hold them accountable. Let them be accountable for the things that they do. When they mess up, let them clean it. When your child pours water on the floor, don't go and beat the child. Don't go and yell at the child. Sometimes children do these things because they want to see what will happen. For instance, your child has water, okay? He or she sees water there, and they ask themselves in their mind, okay, thinking like a child, what is this? This is water. Okay, what is it used for? Then they'll pick up the water, they'll pour. Let me see what will happen when I pour this water on the floor. They pour it on the floor, and it's present. They're like, they're happy. You see, they are just experimenting. It's their curiosity. They are curious. They want to know what will happen when I pour this water on the floor. They want to know what will happen when I put this thing here. When I take this, when I play with this, when I do this. It's all, curiosity, out of curiosity. They want to learn. They want to know what will happen when they do these things. So it is your responsibility as a parent. See, if you put something, your certificates anywhere, if you have a toddler and you are putting your certificates anywhere, and your child tears those certificates, who is to be blamed? Is it the child? Do you beat a child for your own irresponsibility. You are responsible. It is your responsibility to put them at a place where the child can't touch it, because he is a child. He doesn't know the essence. He doesn't know the importance of that certificate. So if you are putting them anywhere, the child will take it and tear it, because the child wants to know at the end of the day, what is this? Okay, let me try doing something with it. That is how they've been wired to explore at that age. It's an age, or it's a stage for exploration. So when your child does something, when my child, for instance, tears her book, I teach her, okay, so what can we do to fix this? It's a problem. I let her know that for every problem that happens, we can solve that problem. So I ask her, what can we do to fix this? Then, she will tell me. Of course, I've already told her that we can, when your book tears, you can use a sellotape or a glue to, do all of that. So they tell me, Mommy, Mommy, we will have to use a sellotape to, so I help him or her, and then we do it. Do you understand? So you don't have to beat a child for the mistakes that they do. Let them take responsibility for it. Let them take responsibility for their actions. Teach them responsibility. And when they grow, they will know, they will learn to respect, things. They will learn to know that, okay, if I mess up, it is my responsibility to clean it. That is why today we have most adults who are not responsible. Yes, yes. So we have to teach responsibility, hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. It's very, very important. And the next thing is that we need to allow our children to fail and to make mistakes. Allow your children to fail and make mistakes. We've passed on this infallibility narrative to our children. We are perfect. We don't make mistakes. We are this, we are that. I get you. You want your child to see that you are perfect. But see, it doesn't solve any problem. When you do that, and when your child makes mistakes and you are always telling the child, why are you making mistakes? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? The child feels like, is something wrong with me? That is how they see themselves, especially if you are always telling your child that you never made mistakes, so you never did this, so you never did that. So you are telling the child that there is something wrong with them, and they lose confidence in themselves. They feel they can't do anything for themselves. So let's allow our children to make mistakes. It is through the mistakes that they will learn. When they make mistakes, okay, when children make mistakes and then they are helped to see the mistake as an opportunity to learn, they wouldn't be afraid owning up to their mistakes. But if they feel, that is why children lie. Yes, that is why most children lie. By the way, lying is also something that is age appropriate. They get to a certain stage, and it has its benefit. When a child lies, it also shows something good. So it's up to you to also teach, and we will handle that. We'll talk about that some other time. So when your child, makes mistake, let them know that, oh, it's an opportunity for them to even solve that mistake, that problem, and do something better. They will own up. They will say, oh yes, Mommy, I did it, but I'll solve it, I'll fix it. Let's allow them, let's give them that space, that opportunity to mess up, and then to hold themselves accountable to solve these problems that they cause. So allow your children to make mistakes and allow them to fail. When they go to school, they write their exams, they don't perform well, teach them. Let them know, reflect on it. Why did I fail? Why did I fail? And then let them sit back, okay? Let them write it down. Why did they fail? They failed because maybe they didn't study, they didn't read their notes, or they didn't pay attention in class. It could be any reason. And then you come back to it and say, okay, so in order for us to perform well, the next term, what do we have to do? For all you know, your child has some difficulties, and that is why they couldn't perform better. For all you know, they have some problems. It could be anything. So it is not a time when your child fails in an exam. It's not a time to be yelling at the child, to be comparing your child to other children. See, the Bible even talks about it, that comparison is foolishness. Why compare your children? Why do you have to compare a bird with an elephant? And you are telling the elephant, see, this bird can fly, you can't fly. Why are you comparing? It is not a wise thing to do, to compare your children to other children. No. So focus on the child you have, and build the child you have. Be confident. That child also has their strength. They have, their strength. So focus on the strength of your child and build their strength, whilst also supporting them to build their weaknesses. Every child has their strength. Every child has weaknesses. The other time we were talking about, who you are raising in the inner tribe, we spoke deeper into it. So if you want to learn more, I always say that, see, parenting is not something like this class we are having. We are giving just tips and hacks. It's not something, of course, you will get something from it, but it's just tips and hacks. So if you want to learn how to do it, how to raise your child, it's a process. You pass through a curriculum. If you want to change something, let's say if you have a child, your child has difficulty in something, you can't teach something once and say, I've taught it, so the child should get it. You pass them through a curriculum, and it can take time. Sometimes it can take like 5 years, it can take 10 years, it can even take 18 years to help a child master a particular skill. So if you want to really learn about parenting, it's not the tips and hacks. You will get the tips and hacks, but you will go back and you make the same mistakes. You need to join a community. You need to pass through a curriculum. You need to go through something that will actually help you, a process that you are doing something every day, learning every day, implementing some tools every day, and reading and all of that. That is why we brought up the inner tribe, where we have parents in the community, and we are learning. We are learning. So that is, I just thought to mention that if you want to join the inner tribe, you can send us a message, and then we will let you know how to actually do that. So that is that about it. We need to teach our children, help them. Let's allow them to make mistakes, allow them to fail. We are all human beings and we have failed before. Tell them, sometimes use yourself as an example to them. Tell your story. You can tell stories of other people who actually failed and didn't give up and even became stronger because they learned from their mistakes, because they learned from their failures. These are some of the things. Let's stop preaching, the fact that we never failed in school, we were all the time perfect and all of that. No, no. Let us raise them to be able to accept the fact that we are humans and we make mistakes. We fail sometimes, but if you fail, you can still, learn to do things better, to stand up again. So that is what we have to do with our children. And another thing that we can do to raise an independent child is for us to allow our children to struggle. Allow your child to struggle. I understand sometimes as parents we want to, when your child is doing something and they are struggling, like especially the mothers, we want to go and then help them at that point in time. But struggling helps the children learn as well. Okay, it helps the children learn as well. So of course your child will be doing something and they're finding it difficult to do. They don't even understand, like they are struggling, they are worried, they don't know. Let them do it. So for instance, if your child is wearing their attire and they are wearing a trouser, for instance, and they are struggling with pulling it up and all of that, sometimes immediately, naturally, you would want to go and then help them fix it, wear the trouser. But calm down, control yourself, ask yourself, I want to see how this child is able to finish this thing that she's doing. So you let them do it. Please give me a moment. So sorry about that. So we have to teach our children to be able, let them struggle. Tell yourself you want to stay back and watch how this child will actually, maneuver or find his or her way around it. And I tell you, they will be able to do it. Sometimes they will cry, I can't win this, come and help me, like all those kind of things that they do. But allow them, encourage them, rub your hands at their back, tell them, this, you can do it. Okay, take your time. This is how you have to do it. And they will be able to do it. And when they do it, they will feel proud of themselves. Like they will feel confident. They've been able to actually do this thing. Okay, struggling is unpleasant and uncomfortable, but there isn't growth without struggle. There isn't growth. Let me say that again. Struggling is unpleasant and uncomfortable, but there isn't growth without it. Without struggle, there is no growth. Okay, there is no growth. So when we are always wanting to save our children from their struggles, we are not teaching them, we are actually preventing them from their full potential. We are preventing them because as they are struggling through things, they are learning. Oh, they are learning. For a child between what toddlers, everything they do, all their activities, their struggles, their play, when they are playing, when they are doing this, it's work for them, it's learning for them. But we will feel like, when a child is playing, why are you playing? You like playing too much, those kind of things. They are learning. They are learning. So don't sometimes I understand you. I perfectly understand you. The reason why we do all of these things, we don't understand all of these things, is because we don't know. These things are new to us. We've not learned. No one has actually taught us. So we don't know. But of course, that is why we are here to help you through the process. Because for me, I believe that before I even gave birth, I knew that parenting, I can't get it wrong. I had the opportunity to help with the upbringing of some kids, and I saw the struggle. I really saw the struggle. It was a whole lot. Like I saw the struggle. The things we did that we weren't supposed to do. We were doing all sort of things, and the children were even confused because we were raising them according to how we were also raised. This person will tell this child to do this. She will go to another caretaker, and the caretaker will say something different. Come to this person will say something different. So we were all doing things, messing up things for the kids. They were confused. The child will go here, you are not supposed to watch TV. The child will go here, they will allow the child to watch TV, like all those kind of things. So I saw from that time that no, I can't get it right. I can't get it wrong, and I can't also get it right without learning. So my curiosity actually led me to learn more about parenting. And I was downloading worksheets, I was working on them. Like I have really learned. It's been for like almost 5 years now since I started. I think it will even be more. So along that line, I promised myself that I was going to learn to get better to help my child. But it doesn't mean I'm perfect. No, I'm still learning, and I still learn, I still implement, I still have things that I do daily. Okay. So parenting is a journey. We are not perfect, but we learn, we grow each day. Your parenting has to change you, it has to move you from A to B. If your parenting is not changing you, then it means you are doing something wrong. Yes. Do you know why God gives us these children? Hmm. We have no idea. If your parenting is not changing you, then it means there is something wrong somewhere. Now, you have to reflect. You have to actually tell yourself, ask yourself, why? What is it? All of that. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is for us to grow as a parent. You have to accept that thing. If you if you don't understand a child, how are you going to help this child? A child you don't understand, a child you don't know, you don't know what, you don't know about them, you don't understand them, you can't lead them. If you don't know where your child is going, how can you lead that child? You will struggle. You will struggle. So it's important that we actually know all of these things. Let your child struggle. Okay. Let your child struggle. Let them do that. It's very important. Let's take note that struggle brings growth. Struggle brings growth. Okay. And another thing that we can do is to also allow them to take risk. Let's allow our children to take risk. Okay. We need to have conversations with them about certain things. It's not only about just giving them instructions, do this, do this, do that. Sometimes we need to we need to allow them to make their own decisions, allow them to take their own risk. Okay. We need to introduce risk gradually as they are growing. We need to learn to introduce risk gradually. Okay. We need to do that. We need to do that. That is what we need to do. And then the next thing, we need to also teach our children to do dangerous things carefully. That is still under the risk. Teach them. Sometimes, some time ago, someone came to my house and saw my children ironing, and I think they were 6 then. Even my 4-year-old has started ironing. I'm not saying that go and teach your child how, go and let your child, go and do ironing. If you've not taught the child, we teach safety. We teach them all of that before we allow them to do it. So teach, allow your child to do things that are dangerous carefully. So as I was saying, someone came and saw these children ironing. They were 6 years old, and she was like, "Hey," like she was all over the place, like they are ironing, they're going to burn the house, all of that. And I was like, calm down, calm down. No, they are not going to. And they've ironed their clothes. Now they are 8 years. They still iron their clothes by themselves. I don't do it for them. Sometimes they even take my clothes and iron for me. Okay, so it's a skill that you build. You don't say my child can't use knife. The knife will cut the child. If you do that, you are passing on your fears to your child. Some will never let their children do anything because they are protecting their children from harm. Man, no, let them use the kitchen knife. There are age appropriate, there are some plastic knives that you can use when they are very young. Let them get those knives and practice with them. Okay. And then gradually you move them to, and teach them how to iron their clothes as early as 6 years, even 5 years can learn how to iron clothes. But you need to be there to guide them, to teach them, okay, how they can do it. And gradually, don't say that your child can't do it. They can do it. They can do it. Sometimes we pass on our fears, and it's because of the traumatic experiences we've had. It's not our fault, but it is our responsibility to heal from our wounds so that we can present ourselves whole and teach our children. Let them do dangerous things in a very, in a careful way. I always tell my children that there's something we call situational awareness. Be aware of yourself. Always, be aware. Look at the environment where you are. What are the things that can go wrong? What are the things if you are careless, you can harm yourself, you can do this. So I'm always on them, reminding them. Yes, let them do things. Teach them. Don't say they will hurt themselves. I'm not going to teach them. If they grow, I will teach them. If they grow, they will fight. They will not do it. There is a window of opportunities. There is a time that, children, as you are teaching them, if you are building these skills gradually, when they grow to a certain stage, it's not difficult for them anymore. But if you wait and you tell, most of the time, the things we tell ourselves, they are young, those kind of things. It will be difficult for the child to learn because that window has closed. And the next time it will open up, they might probably be teenagers. And at that stage too, we fight with our children. We fight with them. So teach them when they are young. Build it. Be patient, okay? Gradually take them through. And I tell you, by the time they grow up, it won't be a fight anymore. They will learn to be responsible for themselves. They will know This is my responsibility. When I finish eating, I have to wash my bowls myself. It is my responsibility. So if we want to see adults, if we want to see these children grow to become responsible, it starts from the home. It starts with what we allow them to, we hold them accountable for now that they are kids. We don't wait for them to grow before we begin to, worry ourselves, teaching. No, teenage years can be a year where you can raise your children in peace. It can be a time that the most peaceful years of your life. If you're not doing something, if your child is fighting with you, if you have grown-ups like teenagers and they are not, you're always fighting with them, it means you did something that you were not supposed to do when they were young. So take your time. I say that these principles can be applied irrespective of the ages of your children. You can still apply them and learn. Learn. That is it, learning. The love for learning. The love for learning. Okay, we need to encourage our children to learn. We need to encourage our children to do things for themselves. Okay, we need to encourage them to do things for themselves. That is one thing that I always tell parents. Whenever I meet parents, I tell them, see, let's teach our children to do things for themselves, because you will not always be here. One problem that I see is that we think we are always going to be alive. But no, death is inevitable. That is the truth. That is the hard truth that most of us don't want to hear. The moment they hear death, like you are saying the forbidden, like you don't have to say it, but it is something that is part of us. So some time ago, we were doing, I think we had a program with some insurance company, and someone was like, you insurance people, every time you come, you talk about death. And someone was like, see, death is part of us. It's inevitable. So if it's something that is going to happen, why don't you prepare for it? Why don't you plan for it? Okay, whatever you do. So whatever you do, death is going to come. But of course, we pray and we say that it shouldn't happen now. But the fact that you are praying that it shouldn't happen now doesn't mean it can't happen. So all you have to do is that you have to do what you have to do as a parent. Take good care of yourself. Take good care of yourself mentally, ensure physically you are good, emotionally, spiritually, you are good, like you are okay. And it's a process. It's a process. You do it gradually by learning, reading a book, okay? Reading, you can't be a parent and reading is a problem. You want your child to love reading, but you don't want to read. No, you have to love to read. And it's a gradual process. See, growth is so beautiful. Only if you are committed, only if you tell yourself that you are going to grow, gradually. That is how you become better, to give your child better. So how else can you raise your child to become independent? Let's look at these few two things, then we can move from here. So the next thing is that you need to teach your child skills. As I said previously, you can't beat skills into a child. You teach it with patience. You teach it in love. You teach it, you take your time gradually. You need to love to repeat. Don't stop telling your child that, how many times do I have to repeat myself before you get it? There is something we call, I've forgotten the word, indoctrination. You repeat. If you understand how the brain of the child works, okay, you need to repeat for it to become a part of them. And you all bear with me that the more you do something, the more it's easier for you to do it. The more you are hearing something, the more you are hearing, you are doing, you are hearing, it becomes part of you. It becomes easier for you to do it. So of course, one thing you need to tell yourself as a parent is that, yes, I'm a repeater. I am going to repeat. And it's okay. I will do it. I'll remind my children. I will do it in love, in patience. I will communicate with them in love and in patience. I always say that, see, these children, they didn't force themselves to us. We decided that we were going to give birth to them, to raise them. So if so, then we need to be patient with them. They are like new people on earth. For instance, when you go to another planet, okay, and you don't know anyone there, and let's say you go there, you meet aliens, they welcome you, and then they teach you, they take you around, they teach you this is how things are done here. They tell you this is how we eat, this is where we poo, this is where we put things. And the moment they've taken you through all of that, you think, oh, you understand, you're okay. But anytime you do something, you mess up. And anytime you mess up, they beat you, they slap you, they do all sort of things, they insult you. How would you feel? You will go like, but I'm new here. I don't know how things. You just taught me once and you expect me to get it. That is the same thing with a child. They are new here in the first place. They are here, they are exploring. They want to understand how things work. They want to understand. So if your child takes something, for instance, if your child takes your remote, and they spoil it, and then you beat the child. Why are you beating the child? Because they spoiled a remote? Because they took your remote and took everything out? No. See it as an opportunity to teach. Because if you understand that child could be a creative child. They want to explore, they want to understand how is this remote built. And mostly, if you realize, those children, the moment they destroy that thing, they're able to fix it back. They fix it. So they are people who can go to manufacture a lot of things. And that is where it starts. So if you don't understand that child, you are going to beat that thing out of the child. That gift that God has given you, that gift that God has blessed you with, you are going to beat the child, and then the child will grow and like they will not know what to do, because that strength that they have, that you're supposed to build it, you've killed it. Because of course you think, this is how I have to raise my child. If I don't beat this child, they will continue spoiling my things. If I don't beat this child, they'll do this. And we interpret things so wrongly. It is the interpretations we give to the things that the children do. That is what causes us to yell. That is what causes us to beat them for the things that we don't even have to beat them for. So we need to understand the children that we are raising. Okay? Understand the children that we are raising. Allow them to do things, to make mistakes. And that is how they will learn to get better. Let's be patient with them. Patience is needed in parenting. Teach skills to your child. Let them learn. Have a curriculum for them. That is why we were even talking about the reading minds. Okay, reading minds. It's not only about letting the child to read. We are we are teaching them skills gradually. Okay, if you want to change something, you pass it through a curriculum, and it will take time. It will take time, but gradually you will see that yes, it is working. So that is why we were saying join the reading minds. We gave it at a very cheap price, but of course, people will always think and say what they have to. So it's fine. It's fine. But we are teaching them. If your child has a problem, there is the book Outliers. I'll recommend that book for every parent here. It talks about the 10,000 hour rules. If you want to teach something, you teach it. For if you want to master a skill, it will take 10,000 hours. And if you're able to calculate it, I think it's about 18 years. So you do something for 1 year and you say you are tired. You do something for 1 year, you say you are tired. No, you haven't mastered that skill. So you need to, when you want your child to master something, if you see the challenges of that child, don't give up. Everyone struggles. Me, I have my challenges. If I come and tell you, for me, my children are perfect, they are this, I am lying to you. If I tell you my children are perfect and I don't face any challenges, see, I am lying to you if I say that. I have my challenges, but I understand how to go about them. I understand. Anytime my child messes up, anytime they make mistakes, I know how to handle it. And that is the difference. If we understand the children we are raising, we will be so patient with them. Of course, You need to also let them. Another thing that you can do if you want to raise an independent child is to let them understand consequences. Let things be clear to them. Let them know that these are the things we don't do here. If you do this, these are the consequences you are going to face. For instance, my children, they know that when you don't hurry up in school and the bus comes, you won't go. By 6:10, you should be getting ready. So we have the alarm. Any alarm that plays, they know, okay, we should be getting ready. When it's 6 o'clock, the alarm plays, and then they know 6 o'clock, be getting ready, because any moment from that time, the bus can come. When the bus comes and you are not ready, it will leave. And when you stay home, you are going to work. They know, they understand. So we don't fight over it. It's something they know. So it will even help your child be time conscious. We don't fight over consequences. They will go through the consequences, and you won't be like entitled. Why do I have to do this? No, you will do it. You will do it. So let's explain things clearly. And you can't give a child a consequence without first of all explaining to the child. So let the child know. See, that is why I say even before you give birth, you need to have your family rules, your family values clearly stated. This is who we are. We are people of integrity. We are responsibility is a value, is our family value. And then you build the skills around responsibility. So, for instance, if your family value is responsibility, you raise your children so that they will be able to, become responsible. When they eat, they will go and wash their bowls themselves. When they wake up, they will make their bed themselves. That is responsibility. No one is coming to do it for them, because apart from it being a family value, you are also living your values as a family. It's very, very important. So let it be clear to your child. This is who we are. And these are the things that is allowed. We are people of integrity. Live that as a family. So a person of integrity will not do this, that. A person of integrity does this, that. If you do this, these are the consequences you are going to face. Teach them about consequences. Even God, when we mess up, He takes us through, okay, consequences. We face them and we learn from it. When you mess up, nature will never forgive you. When you have to eat and you don't eat, you will be hungry. When the weather is cold and you don't put up a dress that will, make you feel warm, I will be cool. Like you will face the consequences. So don't take away consequences from a child. Let them face it. But before you take them through the consequences, ensure that you have taken your time, you have taught them, you have trained them, you have taken them through the training that they need, and ensure they understand. Because children are some way. You have to be firm and patient. You have to be firm but loving, firm but understanding. Understand the child that you have, and don't wish to raise someone else's child. You don't know who God has given you. You don't know that child that God has blessed you with. I tell you, that child is a solution. Is a solution to the many problems we have here in Africa. I tell you, don't let our parenting style destroy them. Don't let the shouting, don't tell yourself that this is how we were raised and we all turned out okay. No, we didn't turn out okay. If we all turned out okay, if we all, were raised and we turned out from the shouting, from the insults, from the beatings, if indeed we all turned out okay, we wouldn't be here as a nation. Things would have been a bit different. There is more work to do. We are doing well, but there is more to do. Parenting is not for the weak. It's not for people who will give excuses. It's not for people who always want to do what they want because this is how I am. No, we can do better. We can change. We can raise a whole new generation. and they will stand tall, and we will be proud at the end of the day. I tell you, we will be proud of ourselves, of the good job that we have done. Okay, so let me add, there are lots of things that I want to talk about, but of course, I have to also go for a meeting. So let me just give some few things that we can do also. Now, we need to also encourage your child to take up holiday jobs. Yes, when your child reach a certain stage, like when they get to the teenage stage, or even 11 years, when they vacate, okay, let them go to someone you trust. So if your friend that you trust has a job or a business, you can tell them, okay, you want your child to come and work with them for the vacations. They are learning. You are teaching them how they can also work to acquire something. You are teaching them responsibility. Okay, you are teaching them. There's so much holiday jobs. Let them go and work and understand how things are done in the corporate world. Like, don't we most of the times our children are entitled because we let them be. They feel comfortable. They feel you see a 15-year-old vacations and they are still at home, still waiting for their moms, their parents to come and cook for them to eat. 15 years old. We can do better. We can do better. We can do better. For me, I challenge all parents. I really want people who are really, willing to do something to change the narrative. We can come together and raise a whole new generation, that we will stand and be proud of ourselves. So let your children, take outside jobs, let them do that. And especially if you have a male child, don't let them be comfortable. Don't give them too much comfort. Not to say the female child needs comfort. Both children, don't give them comfort, but you need to be firm with the male child, because most of our men, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. So let's be conscious of how we are raising our children. Let's be comfort. Let's encourage decision making. Sometimes you need to let them to decide. So today in the inner tribe, the activity for the inner tribe was to allow your child, decide on the food you are going to prepare at home. So you are teaching the child that their voice also matter. Their decisions matter. They are seen as a part of the family. So sometimes let them make their own decisions. Sometimes when the decisions doesn't really make sense, you know how to go about it. You sit down, you talk about it with them. They understand. And as you are, for instance, the activity we are doing today, letting your child, suggest the kind of food you are going to prepare at home, you are teaching them. So as they've decided this is what we want to cook, we have a plan, a budget for the food that we want to prepare. And we have to also plan before we go and get those items. So you are teaching them financial management, you are teaching them planning, you are teaching them executive functioning skills. Because of course, after the plannings, we go get the foodstuffs. We come home, we are going to prepare the food. And when we come home, they are going to be part of the cooking. They're going to wash vegetables. Some of them are going to cut some of the vegetables and all of that. You are teaching executive functioning skills. And these things, you don't beat them into a child. You only teach it. You only teach it. So let's all know that. I would want to end here. Let me add this final one. Let's give our children the opportunity to say no. To say no. A child who can't say no to you will not be able to say no to someone who wants to molest them. They will not be able to say no to someone. They will not be able to make their own decisions, because there are some parents that the moment their children says no to them, there's a fire on the mountain. How dare you say no to me? Who are you? A parent sometime came to me and was like, the child said no to her, and she looked into the child's eye and said, who do you think you are? Who the hell do you think you are? That kind of thing. Yes, sometimes saying no, people saying no to you can get to you because of the childhood, the traumas you've been through. But Let your children. One thing you can teach your child is teaching them to say no. When you teach your child to say no, I mean, they become comfortable. Let them be comfortable with saying no to you first. Let them be comfortable because you are helping them. It's for protection. If you teach them to say no, you see, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, it's not difficult for them to say no. Yes. But when they say no to us, that is the confidence they are building. They are not afraid. Children are not afraid to say no to you. But we beat them for saying no to us. And then they lose that, confidence to say no. So when someone wants to molest them, they go ahead because you are teaching them to obey blindly. Obedience, blind. How do I even put it? Like, it's not the conversation about parenting, it's not even about obedience, like teaching your child obedience. No, we want to raise children who can think at the end of the day. And it's not about obedience. Not to say obedience is bad, it's not bad. But of course, we need to focus not just on our children obeying us, but our children being able to think. Being able to think. That is very, very important. Okay, so when you teach your child to say no, it's for their protection, for their it helps maintain their identity in a world where people are told to do so many things. Like people, are told to be here, to do this, to do that. Sometimes people get confused because they don't know even who they are. They can't say no to other people. But if we teach our children, if we teach them that it's okay to say no, and if your child says no to you, oh, okay, it's no for you, okay, it's fine. Let them be. But if you don't understand why they are saying no to you, you can go to them, let them give you some explanations as to why they are saying no. As to why they are saying no. We taught our daughter that, like, no, it's okay to say no. Don't feel bad for saying no. No is also an answer. So let it be okay. Anyone can say yes. It takes people, a certain kind of people, to actually say no. I know some people pleasing, they always want to please other people, and it's so difficult for them to say no. It's difficult for them to say no. And some people too, when other people say no to them, it's also a problem. So don't teach your child, okay? My daughter, she said no to the point that some time ago we wanted to do something. I think she was 3 years old, and her dad, I asked her dad to go and bath her. We were looking at something, and the dad went to bath her, and it was time for her to wash her, her area, her vagina. And her dad was like, "Can I wash it for you?" She said, "No, daddy, no." The way she said the no, and her daddy was like, "Okay, it's fine. You can do it yourself. Can you do it yourself?" And she said, "Yes, I can do it." And then she did it. But I got there later, and I want to do it for her. So, like, it's something that you need to teach your child. Let them be comfortable saying no to you. Okay, and it also promotes a positive self-image. It promotes a positive self-image. So I would want to actually end here. There are so many things. As you are teaching these things, there are also skills you need to teach the child. You need to teach communication skills. You need to teach time management skills. And there is a way to teach all of these things. There is a way. And the children in the reading minds, these are all the skills. Like, these are skills you are going to teach them. It's a process. It's a process. And if you skip the process, you will not get the results. And there is nothing like like a sharp solution. I always say it. Nothing like a sharp. Anything that promises you a result now, it's fake. You can't do something and expect a result, that thing to work like now. No, you need to go through a process and be willing to go through the process. That is when you understand certain things. That is when you become better. Okay, that is when you become better. So let me just end here. I have a lot of things to say, but as I said, time is not on our side. So if you want to know more, you can actually book a slot for the inner tribe. There is a lot. I say there's a lot to, like, a whole lot to learn. There are so many things we've normalized, but it's not supposed to be normal. We have to be willing to stand, to tell ourselves that we are going to be the change makers for this generation. And I tell you, so far as we are willing to do the work, to put in the work, we are definitely going to change the narrative. We are definitely going to make that change that we want to make. So I would want to end here and thank you all for coming here. I don't take your time for granted. I know that some people are at work doing all sort of things, but you gave some time to be here, and I so much appreciate. I so much appreciate. When I see parents who want to really learn to get better, I really love it. So thank you so much for being here. And okay, Hannah says thank you, Auntie Kia. Thank you too, Hannah. Thank you too for being here. I really appreciate your presence. So see you again next week. Next week, we are also going to bring you another exciting we are going to learn something really, really valuable. So see you all next week and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.